Hello everyone and welcome to a week of Linux news for the 20th of August 2017. Well, OggCamp is on this weekend in the United Kingdom. It's in Canterbury this time around, running from the 19th to the 20th of August, and I managed to forget about it, so that was a bit of a shame. I went to the last one in Liverpool. Would have liked to have gone to this one. Oops, okay, maybe next year. Well, birthday celebrations are in order this week. It is Gnome's 20th birthday. It was founded by Miguel de Icaza and Federico Mena Quintero on August the 15th, 1997. And from the GNOME page, they're stating that there's been 33 stable releases since the initial release of GNOME 1.0 in 1999. The latest stable release, GNOME 3.24 Portland, was well received. And the upcoming version 3.26 Manchester is scheduled for release in September this year, with over 6,000 contributors and 8 million lines of code. Ooh. Okay, that's a lot of coding there. So yeah, 20 years old. And there's been some birthday celebrations. Some very nice selection of pictures. Well, not only that, but Softpedia noticed that Debian was 24 years old. So it started by late Ian Murdoch back in 1993. And they've had considerably fewer releases than GNOME have. What are we up to? Version 9.1.0. Ooh, steady there, folks. So also from Softpedia, not a birthday celebration this time around though, but Feren OS gets an upgrade. This is a distribution that is based on Linux Mint version 18.2. And the Feren OS dev has been trying to get me to review the operating system for some time, and unfortunately it keeps slipping down my to-do list. I may get to look at it at some point. I guess this new release just gives me a reminder that, okay, maybe I will take a look at it. So the biggest change in this month's snapshot is the rebasing to Linux Mint 18.2 Sonia, which in turn is based on Ubuntu 16.04 long-term support. The release improves USB boot support and removes a few applications. The removed apps can be installed manually from the recommended apps section of the distro's welcome screen. Oh, so they got a distro welcome screen. Excellent. I do like that feature, especially on more simpler to use Linux distributions. Support for NVIDIA GPUs was improved as well, especially when running the OS directly from the live medium, thanks to the implementation of a new no mode set during boot. Solus version 3 has been released. This is a distribution that is not based on anything else. It is its own base level distribution. It uses the EOPKG package manager. Not quite such a vast selection of applications as you might find in the likes of Debian or Fedora, but overall the system was running very well, and I went with the Budgie desktop, and I have to say it does look very pretty. And it ran perfectly fine. There is support for snap-based packages now. This is the universal packaging format being pushed by Canonical. So quite a few distributions are now picking up with snaps. So it's good to see that it's becoming more widespread these days. And Raspbian Stretch has been released. This is a Linux distribution made for a Raspberry Pi, and they've now uplifted the Debian-based distribution up to Stretch, which is the latest stable release. To be honest, I've been running Stretch for quite a while on my Raspberry Pis, back when it was still in development, and I didn't really find any problems with it, running perfectly fine. I think the only changes I might see now is on the Raspbian specific tools, they were still stuck at, what was the previous version? I'm going to guess Jessie. I'm of course trying to think of it in the middle of a recording, so yeah, hopefully it was Raspbian Jessie, the predecessor, and that was the GUI tools that I was still using. The packages though are based on Stretch, and yeah, running perfectly fine as I said. Ubuntu 17.10, which is codenamed Artful Aardvark, now has a dock again. This is a feature that they would be losing going to Ubuntu GNOME, or should I say the GNOME desktop. But instead of using the dash for dock, oh no, that would be too simple, wouldn't it? No, Canonical have gone for their own packaged version of dash to dock, which is, I think, differs slightly from the original, but I don't think it's a million miles away because there is mention that they have based their code on dash to dock, so yeah, it could be just a fork. But apparently the reason why it's being packaged now is because they would like to install it by default. I'm sure that they could have installed it by default into the Gnome desktop, surely, unless I'm missing a point here, or maybe it's to do with the upgrades, that an upgrade from an older version of Ubuntu wouldn't have had the dashed dock, and it would just ease the transition for anyone upgrading from Unity, because, well, at first glance they do kind of look very similar, Unity and Gnome there. Okay, it's not directly related to Linux here, but Google have updated the Gmail app for iOS with the anti-phishing security checks. I just wanted to mention this feature really in case you hadn't really realised about it. The anti-phishing checks, the phishing emails pretending to be, let's say your bank. Hello, this is your bank. Or, dear valued customer, this is your bank. We noticed some fraudulent transaction. Please log into your account in quotes, because it would be a completely different website. And yeah, just confirm what your password is. It'd be something along those lines. So yes, we're now getting alerts from Gmail that, are you sure you want to proceed to insecuredomain.com? It's all about trying to make the user think twice, whether they actually would or not. I have seen some users be very stupid and just click on anything that is blatantly not company related or the site that they're looking for. Yeah, it's good to see the feature anyway, because it may stop some users falling for phishing attacks. The new Plasma 5.11 wallpaper has been confirmed, and here it is. It is nicknamed Opal and is available from the KDE store. I have to say the KDE wallpapers do look very pretty, and they really do change with each release. This is a complete contrast to the likes of Ubuntu, which seem to keep a very similar wallpaper with each release. No, I think these are actually very pretty wallpapers and could be used. KDE applications have been uplifted to version 17.08. Dolphin now shows deletion time in trash and shows creation time if the OS supports it, such as on BSD. KDE Live, the team has fixed the broken freeze effect. In recent versions it was impossible to change the frozen frame for the freeze effect. Now a keyboard shortcut for extract frame feature is allowed, and now the user can save screenshots of their timeline with a keyboard shortcut. It's all about the use of it really, nothing major added in terms of features, just usability. Console now allows an unlimited scrollback to extend past 2 gig 32-bit limit. What? How much would you end up in the console window? And I do apologise if you can hear that banging in the background. My neighbour is having a new fence in their garden. So I've tried to shut as many doors and windows between me and them as possible, but yeah, I do apologise about that. Anyway, it doesn't look as though there's anything much else major in the KDE applications. Now a couple of articles from the register. Red Hat banishes Btrfs file system from Red Hat Enterprise Linux. This is a bit of a surprise, considering that Btrfs is still in development and supported, and is even built into the kernel. Red Hat's banished Btrfs, the Oracle-created file system, intended to help harden Linux storage capabilities, and as the explanation of the Btrfs file system has been in technology preview state since the initial release of Red Hat Enterprise Linux version 6. Red Hat will not be moving to Btrfs to be a fully supported feature, and it will be removed in a future major release of RHEL. The Btrfs file system did receive numerous updates from the upstream in RHEL 7.4 and will remain available in the version 7 series. However, this is the last planned update to the feature. So just because Red Hat are banishing Btrfs doesn't mean it's going to be the death of the file system, because the Linux kernel still supports it, and SUSE still expects it for its root partition, and has people working on the code. So Google recently said it was evaluating Btrfs for its potential use in Android. Very interesting, so that would get rid of the dependency for FAT32, and perhaps they won't have to pay Microsoft any licensing fees. Ads regulator wraps PC repair biz for massaging malware infection rates. Stop running that or we'll say stop again, so help me God. An online PC repair shop was yesterday given a small ticking off by the Advertising Standards Agency, the UK's notoriously gummy marketing watchdog, for claims that 1 in 3 PCs are blighted by malware on a daily basis. Oh, yeah, I'd say that's massaged a little bit. Reimage Plus published a promo on April the 21st warning prospective customers don't be part of the statistics. 1 out of 3 computers is infected by malware every single day. Certainly not any Linux users, so all the rest of them must be Windows users. So complaints received by the ASA centred on whether Reimage Plus's scaremongering was misleading or could be substantiated. The biz didn't fight the case, it simply ignores the watchdog's calls. Now there is some irony to this story that Reimage Plus is actually malware. If you ever go and look on Google, do a search for Reimage Plus, you get the application as the first result, and then everything else is how to remove Reimage Plus and how it is malware. Funny old thing that, isn't it? So don't be part of the statistics of 1 in 3 users. Keep Reimage Plus off your system. From RCR Wireless News, Red Hat discovers Openstack security glitch. So Red Hat patches a vulnerability in Openstack subsystem that manages virtual machines. It could have given hackers access to network resources if it had gone unnoticed. Red Hat dubbed the incident a race condition flaw. Found in Openstack Neutron, a feature of Red Hat Openstack platform that manages VMs, where network security groups were disabled in the wake of a security update. The vulnerability is tracked as CVE 2017-7543. The race was only triggered by an update, at which point an attacker could access exposed tenant VMs and network resources. And Red Hat have released updates for OpenStack 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. Okay, well, there's a few supported versions of that. I don't think it's anything major to worry about really this. It's okay, a vulnerability has been discovered and it has now been patched. It's a race condition, so I just checked and it has a CVSS score of 5.3 out of 10. So 10 is most vulnerable and very easy to exploit. 1 is not particularly easy to exploit at all, so 5.3 is not exactly newsworthy. And for this week's stupid news, it goes to pseudo-satirical again. So, man wishes he could chmod 644 girlfriend. And the chmod grouping for 644 would be read-write to owner and read-only to other users. Of course, I have to be careful about mentioning this article. I could upset a certain Welsh lady. So, speaking to reporters on Friday, whilst keeping a stern eye on his girlfriend's Facebook Messenger status, local man Hugo Richards lamented at how easy life was managing a Linux system compared to managing his relationship. Oh yes. I'm in full control of my operating system and I know everything that gets installed or stored on it, he said with the slightest grimace as he stared at the sudden green online symbol light up on his girlfriend's Messenger profile before muttering, "God, what's she up to now?" Mr. Richards went on to explain that in his computer world, permissions are explicit, and an admin could always know what's going on in the system. Sometimes, he said, I just wish I could chmod 644 my girlfriend, or maybe even chmod 600. But I wouldn't want to appear clingy or anything. But right now, I feel that she's getting around with a chmod 777 applied to her. So that's read, write, execute for all users. An acquaintance of Mr. Richards, who wished to remain anonymous, says his friend should look on the bright side. Old mate Hugo, yeah, maybe appears a bit paranoid now and again. To be honest, I'm surprised he even has that girl. If she was a program, I reckon he would have had to run sudo will you date me on her, or sudo touch. Hey, actually, don't publish that last part, okay? Oops, they seem to have published it, and I read it out. In latest reports, things apparently spiraled further out of control for Hugo Richards. She spends less time at home and keeps getting dressed up all fancy-like, even when she's supposedly going to work, he said. Man, she's like Windows, doing shit in the background that you don't even know about. I have no idea what's going on in that mind of hers. Why can't women come with source code included? He added finally with visible anguish. Yeah. So that was a week of Linux news. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all later.